The 2nd of February, 1349.
This morning I discovered a small hardness in the crease of my groin. It is, I tell myself, no more than the price of too many stairs climbed, too many nights spent bent over pallets and ledgers. I set about myself as I would any patient. My pulse, quick, but it has been so all winter. My tongue, a little dry. My urine, darker than I like, but I have not slept. Only that treacherous kernel remains, no bigger than a walnut, warm beneath the skin. I have seen such swellings 100 times since Michaelmas. I have watched them ripen to purple, watched them split, watched the men who bore them sink into the earth. Tonight, I press my fingers to it and decide quite calmly that mine is different.
The 3rd of February, 1349.
By midday, the ache is no longer a murmur, but a drumbeat. The swelling has grown, round and angry under the skin, the flesh above it flushed and hot. A fever walks my veins. One moment my teeth chatter as though I stood naked on the Thames bank. The next, sweat pours from me so that my linen clings. I sit at my table, and out of foolish habit, I list the course of this illness as I have observed it. First day, pain where the bubo will rise. Second, swelling and fever. Third, dark spots upon the skin. Fourth, either a breaking and a foul discharge, or a silence that ends in the grave. By my own reckoning, 9 of 10 men who walked this path did not live to see the 7th day. It is a strange thing to realize that one has spent a year composing the script for one's own death.
I knew this patter too well. By my own ledger, 9 of 10 such men were dead within the week. The 4th of February, 1349.
Today I laid out my instruments as if preparing to meet a stranger. The basin, the lancets sharp and bright, the cups, the jars of theriac and syrups, the little packet of ground pearl I once reserved for a goldsmith's widow. I washed my hands in vinegar until the skin stung, though I know now that such purifying is more comfort than cure. I opened a vein in my own arm. The blood ran thick and dark into the bowl. I studied it with a scholar's interest even as my head swam. Corrupt humours, I murmured, as though naming the enemy would master it. I swallowed my finest antidotes, smeared my best poultices over the swelling, burned rosemary until the room choked with smoke. Now night falls. The bubo throbs larger than an egg. The fever climbs. My remedies sit in my belly like stones. For the first time in this pestilence, I can watch the full course of my art upon a single subject, from first touch to last breath.
The 5th of February, 1349.
The night has been a procession of ghosts. In the wavering candlelight, my room has filled with all those I have treated. The dock worker smelling of tar, the Cheapside fishwife with her hands still red from gutting herring, the alderman's son lying in linen finer than any shroud. They stand at the foot of my bed, each with their swollen nodes, their flecked tongues, their spotted skin. Behind them, another figure moves silently from door to door, drawing the pestilence after him like a shadow. It is myself, in my good wool gown, with my box of instruments and my book of authorities. I see it now. I was never commander of this plague. I was its herald, its clerk, its obedient servant. I opened veins and signed wills and walked from pallet to pallet with the same unwashed cloak, as devout in my ignorance as any flagellant. If this is judgment, it is fitting that I die by the same play I helped to stage.
I was never commander of this plague. I was its witness and its accomplice. The 6th of February, 1349.
I can no longer rise without help, but I can still hold a quill. so I will spend what ink remains on something other than inheritances. If you find these pages while London yet draws breath, heed this. Do not crowd the churches. God can hear you from your own hearth. Do not share cups, nor blankets, nor beds with those who cough. Do not seek comfort in great gatherings. You will find only infection. If a man in your house sickens, give him air. Open a shutter if you can. Burn his bedding when he dies, though the stench will cling to you for days. Wash your hands in vinegar after you touch the sick. Hold a cloth over your mouth, not for show, but always, always. Do not trust in bloodletting as I did. I am bled and buboed both, and it has availed me nothing. Take this at least from a dying physician. I have profited from your fear. Let my failure be of some use to you.
The 7th of February, 1349.
Today I attempted to sit at my old desk, where I once certified the deaths of others. The room spun. I clung to the chair like a man at sea. When my vision steadied, I saw the ledger where I left it, open upon the last page I filled. Names marched down it in neat ink. Thomas, Cooper, pestilence. Agnes, widow, pestilence. 3 pages of the same grim litany. There is no space marked for physician, pestilence. No clerk will come to note my passing. The priests are buried or fled, the guildsmen gone to their manors or the grave. When they carry me out, if they carry me at all, I will be tipped into a pit with men whose trades no one bothered to learn. I spent this winter proving that others had once been here. For me there will be no line, no seal, no scrap of parchment. I used to fear the plague. Today I fear vanishing more.
The 8th of February, 1349.
The letters wander on the page. My hand will not obey me as it once did. I do not know who you are, or when you live, who bends over these words with clear eyes and steady lungs. I only know that if you are reading this, then the pestilence did not end with me. Perhaps it burned through London and was spent. Perhaps it crossed the sea. Perhaps your world has plagues of its own, with other names and finer explanations. Remember this much of mine. We wrapped our ignorance in Latin and called it wisdom. We mistook movement for mastery. We thought ourselves shields, and we were doors left open. If you are reading this, then the pestilence did not end with me, but perhaps.
If you are reading this, then the pestilence did not end with me.
The man whose words you have just heard never lived, but men like him did. In England, as the Black Death tore through towns and fields, a few clerks and canons tried to catch it in ink. A monk at Reading, a canon like Henry Knighton, wrote of parishes emptied, of priests buried by the dozen, of bodies thrown into great pits when churchyards overflowed. They counted, they described. Yet in their lines we rarely hear from a single London physician watching his city fail and then following his patients into the grave. This imagined diary stands in the gap they left. It speaks for the doctors, priests and healers who walked from house to house with their books and their faith and their fear, and whose own deaths went unrecorded in the ledgers they signed. If you are listening to this centuries later, it means his last hope was not entirely in vain. The pestilence did not end with him, but our understanding did not end with his. History wasn't written, it was lived. Subscribe to History Snaps to hear the voices that nearly disappeared.